Welcome back. So we were talking about operating system, right? So now when you're buying this, like I said, don't worry too much about what the operating system you're getting. What you need to worry about what you're running on this. So for example, if you're only using for Facebook, eventually you're watching a movie, playing music, and you might do a Word document or two, then you do your email. So for that, actually, even a i3 is, quite efficient, right?
Even a Celeron might work.
Yeah, so there are different processors as well. You can get cheaper laptop with mobile processor. So what they call is a low value processor. It's similar to Celeron. They don't call it Celeron anymore, but they have low value Intel chips. Even that's fine. Like we said on the first segment, the basic bottleneck is on your hard drive. So hard drives, now computer, everything is electronic, right? But hard drive is a mechanical thing. So you have disk running in it, you have your motors. So it's actually the only mechanical device on the computer right now is the hard drive, which is from the beginning of computer, this has been the same technology they have been using. There hasn't been any advance of that technology. So now we get something called solid state disk. So basically those are all electronic memory devices, just like a hard drive, but much faster. And even like, for example, the computer that's sitting in front of me is a 2009-year-old. When I bought it, it's almost like 8 years old. So but I still use it because when I bought it, it came with a hard drive. It only had about 2 GB of RAM. Like Tilner suggested, now I have upgraded to 8 GB of RAM. And then I removed the hard drive, I put in a SSD. So the barrier with SSD is, now we know with a hard drive what you pay for a GB is really less. So you can get terabytes of hard drives for a really cheap price. But SSDs are still new, relatively not cheap. For example, if you buy 120 GB worth of a SSD, it costs about 9,000 to 10,000 rupees. But those are what you call SATA hard drive. So if you get a laptop has an old hard drive, you can get one of those SSDs, put it in. So it has to be a SATA hard drive that will give you a massive boost. When I say massive boost, it's significantly noticeable. For example, this computer used to take about a minute to boot up.
Yeah, even for my computer, Kalinga, so I was on a Linux platform.
Yeah.
So it took like 20 seconds or more to boot earlier. Now after the SSD installation, it only takes like less than 5 seconds.
And this is a Core 2 Duo computer, right?
Yes.
And it's, I think, 10 years old.
It is.
So it's a 10-year-old computer that takes how long, Tilya?
Only less than 5 seconds.
So even if you upgraded that computer, let's say Tilya decided to get all this i7 computer, a processor, let's say the 6th generation processor with 16 GB of RAM, I don't think you will even notice a 2 seconds difference in the boot time, right?
No.
So it will still take that 30 seconds you earlier suggested, because that hard drive take time to give out the data that's within the hard drive itself. So hard drives itself, you connect it to a SATA connector which is capable of doing 6 Gbps without an issue. But the hard drive is not, like I said, it's a mechanical device. It takes time because mechanical, head need to move here and there to retrieve the data. Then if you're writing it again, it takes time. But when it comes to solid state disk, there are no moving parts inside it. It's all electronic and it's really faster. So if you happen to have an older computer, the best thing you can do right now is, say if you have less than 4 GB of RAM, ensure you upgrade the RAM and replace that hard drive with SSD. That will actually expand that computer's lifetime by at least 2 years.
Yeah, but if you are running out of space, solid state drives don't have much space, right?
Unless you have a lot of money.
Yeah, so if you are playing games or if you are doing something like video editing or something, you need a lot of space. So for that you can keep the old drive.
Yeah.
For operating system and the applications you install, you can install it on the solid state drive.
So in this case, in this scenario, what you can do is, like Telina suggested, remove the hard drive that's within the laptop. And you might have, like this comes with, trade-ins and sacrifices, right? So you might need to sacrifice your optical drive, which is a DVD-ROM.
Nobody uses them in.
A lot of people don't use it. I think that's one of the reasons Apple stopped even putting it onto a lot of their computers. So what you can do is there are cradles that you can put your old drive into that, and that will go where your DVD-ROM or a CD-ROM used to be. So then you can have all your application and the operating system installed on your SSD, and then all your other data like movies, files, which doesn't really need much fast access, on your hard drive. So with this, what will happen is when you click on, like your Word, when you click on, your Internet Explorer or Chrome, when you're browsing, it will load significantly faster. Let's say earlier it took about 30 seconds, for something to load up. It might load in about 2 seconds.
Yeah, the Office package applications have massive difference.
Massive
Word
difference.
takes a while to load in a normal computer, but
Yeah.
on solid state drive, once you click it, it's open.
Yeah. So that's actually because processors are now, like we said earlier, has evolved a lot, and it doesn't have much headroom to improve. But like we said, now if you are like really crazy about it, if you are buying a new laptop, if you want super fast, there's another type of SSDs as well. Like we earlier said, it connect to the SATA port, which is the serial ATA port. But newer generation of SSD connect to the PCI Express slot. So especially MacBooks, all those comes with this PCI Express slot, which is really fast. So when you're buying a laptop, trade in for like a good laptop with a good SSD in it. Compromise on the amount of CPU you get. You might get. If someone is asking for general purpose, what kind of computer I should get, I would recommend 4 GB or above RAM. i5 processor, anything above 4th generation is fine, even 3rd generation will do. And then a good SSD on it. That's about it. And the other thing you need to worry about is, let's say you're planning to play somewhat of a games. Let's say, you are not a gamer, but you still want to play.
Casual gamer.
Casual gamers, I want to play a few games, you want to see some, either, I don't know, you're doing AutoCAD or you're, graphically, let's say you're doing Photoshop and photo editing. Would a standalone GPU help?
New Intel onboard graphics are very advanced, so I think it will be enough for most of the apps.
Yeah.
Even for casual games also.
Yeah. Right. So I think we spoke about. I think we are going into the next topic, which is how you play game, how you do graphic editing, and all that. So after this break, we'll talk about that.